Candace Turtle. I'm a board member of the Ashland Climate Collaborative, and I'm your moderator for this monthly community discussion on home energy efficiency. These free support groups are brought to us by the all-volunteer Electrify Ashland Now action team. And this meeting is being recorded for those who can't attend. Tonight, we're going to learn more about induction cooktops, a sleek, easy to clean form of cooking. And okay, I've just got to wait 1 second because I lost my notes there. Hold on.
Sorry.
That's all right. No worries. This is live TV. It's much more exciting that way.
Do you want me to take the title down?
No, that's fine. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yes, so we're going to be talking about cooking with induction stovetops, the health benefits of cooking with electricity versus natural gas, the electrical requirements that you need to have these upgraded stoves, and what rebates or tax credits may be available if you shift from natural gas to induction. But I also want to remind you that, as always, Ben and John are also very happy to take other questions that you may have about home energy efficiency and shifting to electronic appliances. Please type your questions into the chat as they occur to you. We'll monitor that and ask questions at the end of a short opening presentation. And lastly, we're going to end the evening with a little bit of fun, and we're going to draw the winning ticket for the induction cooktop giveaway that we started a little while ago. So as I mentioned, tonight's webinar is brought to you by the Electrify Ashland Now action team of the Ashland Climate Collaborative. ACC is a hub for community collaboration to reduce our climate footprint and to build a more equitable and resilient Ashland. You can learn more about the collaborative and about Electrify Ashland Now at ashlandclimate.org. That's ashlandclimate.org. The Electrify Ashland website is electrifyashlandnow.org. We also have action teams that are working on transportation issues, particularly around biking. We have action teams on food composting and water conservation. You can sign up for our monthly water newsletter at ashlandclimate.org, where you can also find lots of information about tonight's topic, induction cooktops and home energy efficiency, through the Electrify Ashland Now website. And without further ado, here is John Spillman to share some background on induction cooking. John is an expert in home energy efficiency.
Thank you, Candace. Good evening, everyone. I'm really excited, both Ben and I are, to talk to you about induction stoves tonight. Both Ben and I have converted our cooking appliances over to induction and are really enjoying all the benefits. I'd have to admit, primarily, or first and foremost, I was interested in induction, and I probably speak for Ben here too, because we're both energy efficiency guys. We've been working in this sector for over 10 years and are doing what we can through our careers to further energy efficiency, renewable energy, and green building in the organizations we work for. So that's what initially attracted me to it. But the more I learned about it and all the benefits, I got more and more excited about it, and then ultimately, finally made the leap. I have always cooked on gas my whole life. I've always had a hard time working and cooking on an electric stove in the past, and just never quite got used to it, the delay and all that. So one of the things that really appealed to me was the speed and the responsiveness that induction stoves purported to have. So went ahead and got one of those small induction cooktops and gave it a spin and found, yes, this is actually more responsive than gas and way faster than gas. So that's just my own personal story, that why I was able to convert from gas. But then, learning more about it, Once you get the gas stove out of your kitchen, there's a whole bunch of other benefits. I mean, first and foremost is saving energy and lowering your carbon emissions significantly by moving from gas or even standard electric over to induction. You're using less energy to cook, and that's because the induction stove is much more efficient at transferring the heat directly to the pot instead of heating up the stove top and consequently the entire room. That's wasted energy. So if you're getting all your energy into your pot, you're using less to cook. If you're using less to cook, you're emitting less carbon emissions. And of course, that's primary mission one of the primary missions we have here in trying to move towards electrification. So this is the best place you could go for your cooking needs. And the other really huge benefit that is something that is not well understood is that when we're cooking with gas in our kitchens, we are filling our kitchens with pollutants, with noxious fumes, carbon monoxide being one of them, same type of poison that comes out of the tailpipe of your car, carbon dioxide, moisture, NOx, nitrogen oxide. So there's a whole bunch of contaminants, byproducts of the combustion process that comes off of those flames. It dilutes in the air, and and if you're using your ventilation hood, it has been deemed safe over the decades that we've all been using gas stoves, but in reality, you are polluting your indoor air when you're cooking with gas. So you remove that out and you replace it with something that doesn't emit anything from the cook surface and just transfers the heat directly to the pot. You have just made a huge leap towards higher quality indoor air. So there's been a number of scientific studies done. One of them is one that was done at Stanford, and we're going to put the link in the chat to that study if you're interested in learning more about that and actually reading about the details of how much it improves your air quality. So that's just another one of the great benefits. And since you're also transferring the heat more efficiently to the pot, and as I mentioned, you're not wasting energy by heating the room, that also translates into a more comfortable experience when you're cooking. And this is really noticeable, of course, in the summertime. When things get really hot around here, oftentimes you think, oh, I don't even feel like cooking tonight because I don't want to heat the kitchen up. It's not an issue. When I'm cooking with my induction stove, I'm not having any heat coming off the cook surface directly hitting me in the torso and warming me up, and it's not warming up the room. So that's just another great benefit. So there's a really nice video that we want to share with you that was done by a fellow named Matt Reisinger, I think is how you pronounce his name. And he's a builder in Austin, Texas, who does custom builds and focuses on high performance and green building. And so consequently, being in that sector and working with that clientele, he has started installing more and more induction stoves. So I'm going to go ahead and share that video with you, because he covers a lot of these points well, and he demonstrates it, and he has some great stories. So let me go ahead and play that for you. Let me share my screen. And then after we watch this video, Ben will start talking about some of the things to think about when you're considering doing an induction stove, and we'll do a Q&A too. So if any questions come up while you're watching this video or anything that I talked about, we'll have a Q&A afterwards. So I'll go ahead and play the video here.
Building or remodeling a house, I want to give you 5 reasons why I think you should consider an induction cooktop for your kitchen. I put my first induction cooktop in a house about 10 years ago. The client had a Wolf 6-burner gas cooktop, and they installed this new technology called induction on a little 2-burner side unit. It was funny, I talked to that client about a month after they moved in, and they absolutely loved cooking with induction. They were barely using their gas cooktop. Since then, about 50% of my clients choose induction, and I'm shocked that I'm not doing this on every single house. It's still a fraction of the marketplace in America. So in today's video, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why I think you should consider induction cooking for your next kitchen in your house. But before we get into that, let me encourage you to go actually to a dealer that has a working induction unit and get a demo for yourself. Once you actually see it and feel it and touch it and experience it, you're really going to get sold. Number 1 is speed. This is by far the number 1 reason why people choose induction. It's about 50% faster to actually heat than gas. I took this giant pot of water that might be a spaghetti pot here, and I took it to a rolling boil very, very fast. It's impressive. Number 2, heat. You know, because this is using a magnet technology and it's actually heating the pan and not the air surrounding, you end up having a much cooler kitchen when you're using induction cooking. When you're using gas, about 60% of the heat from that gas burner is lost into your kitchen. Only 40% goes into the pan. Quite the opposite in induction. Almost 90% of that heat is actually going into the pan. That means a really big deal in terms of our hot kitchens here in America. Number 3, safety. This is probably one of the big reasons for me as well. If you're cooking with gas, when you're actually burning that gas, you need to run your vent fan the entire time, because when you're burning that gas, there's all kinds of noxious gases that are coming out, and you don't want those to stay in your house. Of course, most people are not using their vent fans, so that means when you're cooking with gas, the indoor air quality in your house goes way down. When you're cooking with induction, there's nothing to worry about there. In fact, if I had a recipe on the countertop and that recipe happened to be near that burner, it would not catch fire. There's no safety concerns with this induction. That also means that if I boil over a pan of some milk or whatever, it's not going to actually burn onto the countertop. So cleanup is going to be quite a bit easier. The next reason why I like induction is for houses that are going net zero. Most of my clients are either putting solar in, or we're doing a solar pre-wire so they can add that in the future. And if we've got an induction cooktop, we're ready for that. I don't know if you've noticed, but on your gas bill, the gas company charges a pretty high premium every month just for having a gas line to your house, and I don't think that's necessary. The other thing I like about net zero these days is there's some new technologies that are coming out, things like Tesla's home battery system, that could mean that ultimately I could unplug my house from the grid someday. I can be making that energy during the day, storing it in that battery, and at night I can be cooking with my cooktop that's powered by my Tesla battery. Pretty nice. The last thing I want to talk about here is cost. You know, 10 years ago when I first installed that burner, it was a pretty expensive technology. The costs have come way down of late. This beautiful, big 36-inch Wolf cooktop here, this runs about $2,700. That's really about the same, or actually less than a gas cooktop. And now I don't have to run a gas line there, so I'm going to save on my plumbing costs as well when I'm remodeling. Really, really nice. Hey guys, check it out at your dealer. I'm here at Harway Appliances in Austin. They've got a couple of working models, and they'd love to give you a demo. Hey, if you want more information on this, visit my blog at mattreisinger.com. Otherwise, follow me on Instagram or Twitter. We'll see you next time.
Great. So another thing that he mentions in that video, which I hadn't touched on yet, was cost. They are pricier. However, he was showing an example of a Wolf brand. Personally, both Ben and I bought Frigidaire full ranges with convection oven and a stovetop, and I got mine through Best Buy. I'm not sure where Ben got his. He can probably tell you that later, but I purchased it about a year ago for $1,800. The prices are dropping considerably, coupled with the fact that now, starting in January, you will be able to take advantage of, or it depends on your income level, but there are going to be significant upfront discounts available through the IRA Act that just passed, that's going to help all of us make improvements in not only our homes, our heating and cooling systems, but they also have a discount and a tax credit available for induction cooktops, as well as if you need wiring done in your home. So I'll show you on our website where you can get to a calculator where you can actually put in your tax status, single or joint, and your estimated annual income, and it will calculate how much of those discounts as well as tax credits you will be able to qualify for in January. And on top of that, the city of Ashland has some incentives available. They have $200 if you're converting from a gas stove to an electric induction, or even if you have an electric resistance stove currently and you convert over to induction, there's an incentive through the city for 150, and that's currently available right now. So you, in theory, you'll be able to take both in January. So there's some great opportunities to make these induction stoves something that are going to be price comparable to, the other options that we've had available to us for years, either through gas or normal electric cooktop.
Thank you so much, John. So I think we're going to have Ben talk a little bit about some of the electrical needs that you have for an induction cooktop, and then that'll give you some time to queue up showing us the online calculator for those rebates and credits.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Ben, will you talk a little bit about what we might need to do in terms of upgrading our wiring to receive an induction cooktop?
Yes. Hi, Candace. Hello, everyone. Thanks, John. That was a great video, too. So on the electrical requirements, they will need 220-volt circuits. Oftentimes, homes will already have a 220-volt circuit in the kitchen if they already have an electric oven and range. So it's easy enough to check. Just look behind your stove for an existing outlet. This is the large 3-prong kind. It needs to be a 50 amp circuit. And again, a lot of homes already have these. Now, mine didn't. I had a gas range and a gas oven, so we just had a 110 circuit back there. But it was easy to have an electrician come in and upgrade that. So one thing you can do to help out on that front is take a look at your own electrical panel, see if you might see some blank spaces or unused circuits. Note the total amps should be somewhere on the metal backing of the panel itself. Most Ashland homes have a 200 amp panel, and 200 amps is a lot of electricity. So most of us should be fine with some of these upgrades that require 220-volt circuits. Another thing you can do is take a picture of the panel, and then when you contact an electrician, you'll have enough information that might make it a little bit easier for them to tell you something even before they come out. But certainly you need to have someone, a qualified electrician, take a look at your panel. The other thing I would say when you're doing this sort of upgrade to a kitchen, be sure you measure your existing space really carefully. If you're dropping a cooktop down into an island, be sure you know what those dimensions are. If it's a freestanding or slide-in type model, which mine was, which had to fit a 30-inch space between existing cabinets on either side. So be real careful with your measurements. Ventilation was mentioned both in the video and by John. Even though there won't be gas and fossil fuel combustion inside the house, in your breathing area, you still want to have good ventilation to take care of odors and moisture buildup, as well as anything that could come from burning of food. So still a really important idea to have good ventilation. Cost was talked about a little bit. My Frigidaire came in a little less than John's. I bought mine about maybe a year later than he did. So it was around $1,600, and that included delivery and what they consider installation. And also it's worth mentioning that there are portable cooktops that are available that are really under like $150. And that's a great way if you have a small kitchen or low cooking needs, might be a way to get into it. And then the other thing John mentioned, and Candace too, is the IRA law that's now going to take effect January 1, 2023 is really amazing. It's a lot of money for home energy upgrades, HVAC upgrades, and including things like induction stoves. So big push in the whole country now to electrify and get off of natural gas. And this is a really good opportunity to do it. The last thing I wanted to mention, because it comes up all the time, is can you use your existing pots and pans? You might be able to. My wife and I checked all of ours with a magnet, And if it sticks solidly to the bottom, you can reuse something. So it would be stainless steel or cast iron pots and pans. You can reuse those. And if you have ones that can't be used, they can be donated or sold to electric range users. So don't feel like it's a complete loss. And again, you may be able to use a number of your own. I think those are the key points I wanted to mention, things to consider before you do this. And I'll just say also that I was a bit skeptical at first. My wife and I have used gas for many years. We both love to cook, and we wondered how it would be to cook with induction. And the jury is out. We are completely sold. The immediate response of changing temperature is great. I'm a real fan of the low temperature for things like simmering when you're doing like rice. I made some ghee yesterday, which is like clarified butter, and it just is so easy to control the temperature. It's amazing. So I hope you all get a chance to try it. And the video pointed out trying to get your hands on one. It's a great idea to visit a store or a friend, or check out a demo model from the library, one of those little ones, and see how they work. They're really great. Thanks.
Thanks so much for that, that sort of roundup, Ben. Something I learned today when we were talking about this evening was that regarding the portable cooktops, which are a great way to test things out, and as you mentioned, are available for loan through the Jackson County Library of Things, which is just like your library. You don't take out books, you take out things. Was that the fans in the portable cooktops are much louder than the regular ones, even though the regular ones are bigger, that they're much more quiet. So that's something to think about if you're testing out the portable cooktops. So I'd like to go back to John, who's going to take a moment to show you this calculator. It's located on rewiringamerica.org, rewiringamerica.org. And many thanks to Lori Kaplan, who's been putting good links into our chat for us. So John, can you walk us through a couple of income levels with the calculator so we can get a sense of what we might qualify for?
Yes, absolutely. The IRA Act has the discounts that I meant, the upfront discounts available for those that are making 80% or less of the area median income. So the calculator is going to have us put in our zip code so that they can pull up our area median income and see if we qualify for the upfront discounts. If not, there's still the tax credits that are available. So let me go ahead and show you where you can get to that. You can go directly to where Candace just mentioned, or you can go to Electrify Ashland Now, and then go to the resources area. And the very first link in that drop down right there is the Inflation Reduction Act resources. So we can go there. And then here's a link to the calculator. Try the calculator right here by clicking on that, and it'll take us over to it. So here it is, a Rewiring America website, your savings calculator. So how much money will you get with the Inflation Reduction Act? So I can say I already put our zip code in. You can put it homeowner or for renters. There's going to be some available for both situations. You can put in the median household income filing. So let's just start with a single person filing single, and start with something like $40,000 income, and then you just click calculate, and right down here it'll say what the total incentives are available. So there's 14,000 of discounts, 3,000 tax credits, and an estimated savings per year if you were to implement all those things right off of your utility bills. So down here we can see more detail. At the top they have the upfront discounts that you can enjoy at the time of purchase or at the time of service, depending on what it's for. So here on an electric stove, we can see there's the $840 upfront discount right off the price that will be available if you qualify within the income level. And then if, as I mentioned earlier, if you needed to do some wiring, say your house only has gas coming to the kitchen and there's not a 220, you can hire an electrician and take advantage of up to $2,500 towards that work. And you can see there's a number of other upfront discounts. And then the second category are the tax credits and what you can take advantage of. If you have a tax burden, you can take this tax credit at the end of the year towards all these various upgrades. So that you, as Ben mentioned, this is a really big deal. There is a lot of incentive money and discount money available to help us make changes in our homes and in our transportation and how we cook and so forth. So that's an example. So let's say let's move it over to two people filing joint. And, we could put something like 75,000. We'll see that it goes down a little bit, or no, actually went up in this case, because there's more tax credits available. The discounts still all apply. And filing jointly, two people, there's higher levels of tax credits available. So the 80% of area median income, I played with this quite a bit the other day, and I found that it's right around 92,000, I think, somewhere in that ballpark where the discounts drop away. So that's probably 81% of the area median income. And now there is a whole home energy reduction available, but the other ones have grayed out. So it's somewhere, the cutoff is somewhere around there, around 91, 92 for two people filing together. So like I said, this is a great resource to get an idea of, how you can offset costs for making significant upgrades that'll make a big difference in your utility bills and your carbon emissions through the Inflation Reduction Act.
What a great calculator, and it's so easy to use. Of course, what it does not include are the rebates that are available through the City of Ashland, and you can find those on the City of Ashland's website. Now we're going to open it up to questions and answers from the chat room. And we had a question from Barb, who mentioned, she says, I'm a renter in Ashland in a 450 square foot studio with a 4-burner gas stove. As a person with asthma and low airflow throughout the space, I'm very interested in knowing if there are financial incentives that might exist for my landlady to switch from gas to electric or induction cooktop. So this is a really great question, and it's not the easiest to answer, but would one of you guys like to take this? Incentives for landlords?
Sure. The Inflation Reduction Act is actually one of the things that makes it so important is that it's really written for low and middle income folks. So as well as homeowners and renters. So if you're a renter, these monies are available to you. Again, there's some qualifiers, but for example, if some of the portable heat pump technologies like window units for heating and cooling that are heat pump technology, portable induction cooktops like we've already talked about, heat pump dryers. These are things that can be taken with you. And so it's an opportunity if funds are available to take advantage, but a lot of the funds will be covered. And again, we all are going to have to stay on top of this Inflation Reduction Act, and we will be. We're going to do a special session on it. I think Candace said for November. So a lot more to come on this, but as far as renters, absolutely stay involved with us. And there's a lot of assistance. So hang in there.
I think also depending on the relationship that you have with your landlord or landlady, you might just share this information and say, wow, I'm excited to know that these things are becoming much more cost effective. I'd love to have an induction cooktop because of my asthma. Can we talk about that? And maybe they would be willing to do it.
And I just ran it. I ran that scenario. I didn't know what the income level, but I put one person, single person who homeowner status renter, and the induction stove upfront discount is available. If even directly to the person renting.
That's right. And that's
Yeah.
$840. So
Yeah.
that's really a lot of money to offset the cost of this.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. So let's take a look at the chat again and see what other questions we may have. I know that there was a question about an induction oven. Could you sort of explain the difference between the oven and the cooktop and how those technologies are working, Ben?
Sure. The freestanding range that I put in has a what you would call a standard convection oven. That's electric resistant, so it is not electric induction. Works like an ordinary oven, really. So to my knowledge, I don't know of an induction oven per se. John may know something, but I don't believe so. It's the cooktop surface that we're talking about here.
The surface has to interact with the bottom of the magnetic material in the pot. Am I correct?
Right.
Right. There's underneath the glass surface, there are copper wires. When they're electrified, there's a magnetic field, if you will, created. And just like a magnet sticks solidly to its stainless steel or cast iron counterpart, then that's the only connection there. There's no heat going elsewhere. It's just going to the flat bottom connected pot to that magnetic field.
Yeah, and it's all it's doing is vibrating, exciting the particles of metal in your pot. So there's no, that's why you saw in the video, he put a paper towel between the pot and the cook stove, because there's no heat transfer from the glass to the pot. It's through the electromagnetic waves to vibrate the metal particles in the pot.
It's kind of magical. And that's another safety thing as a mom who's had those curious kids who want to reach up and grab the stove while you're cooking. It feels a lot safer for little kids and grown-ups not actually getting burned. Paul asks, what are the electrical requirements for the smaller freestanding, small portable induction cooktops? John?
Yeah, it's a 110 plug. It plugs right into the wall, so nothing special. That being portable, you can plug them in anywhere, including outdoors if you want to cook. I've taken mine outside with an extension cord in the summer. I'm doing a barbecue and you want to have something on the side, you get a little cooktop.
And they come with different numbers of burners. Am I correct? Some are single burners and some might be double.
Yeah, I think they do make a double. Most of the ones I've seen are single burners, but you probably can get a portable double.
Great. Okay. So let's see. Oh, Carol has a very interesting and good question here. She said, how fragile is the glass surface of these ovens? She said her cast iron is very heavy, as we all know. What's going to happen to that glass, Ben?
It will break.
If you drop it.
Yeah, you of course you want to be careful. That would be true of any glass top electric or induction range. Sure, you have to be careful. But I'll say that it's not delicate. You can set things down sort of firmly, but again, common sense here. And one thing about the tops, the glass top, is trying not to drag pots and pans across the surface, but lift and set them down. Other than that, I haven't noticed anything that's particularly fragile. And one thing that's already been mentioned, they're a breeze to clean up, and the surface it's amazing how it just doesn't get hot. Even after you've boiled water, when you turn that burner off, it's immediately off. You remove the pot, and I'm not kidding, within seconds, you can gently touch the surface. I don't mean put your hand on it and see how long you can hold it. It's going to be hot, but I mean, it quickly is cooling off. It's amazing how it works. So another little tidbit.
Yeah, and the glass is tempered glass, so it's strengthened. It's not just,
yeah.
It would take quite a bit to break it. And I could say that I've had, a 19 and a 21-year-old cooking on this stove for over a year, and it's still intact. And I have cast iron too. So I was quite concerned about that very issue myself. Haven't had a problem.
Lori Kaplan is echoing what you guys have said in the chat. She said that they use cast iron pots and they were very cautious at the beginning, and then they just said, what the heck, and relaxed. And she said they've developed some new pot handling skills, but she just doesn't really think about it. And the glass does not seem to be that fragile. These induction cooktops are used in professional kitchens. One of the huge benefits being, you know, a lot of kitchens in historic buildings, such as we have here in Ashland, are in tiny spaces, and you have a couple of people all emitting heat, and then you have all these burners putting off a lot of heat. When professional chefs use induction, I think it's a lot healthier for the cooking staff to work on that. And Lori's reminding us that on cruise ships, almost all of the cooking is done on induction. I know at SOU in their student cafeteria, there are some induction cooktops in their line where they will make things quickly for students. So it is a technology that's actually been around for quite a while, although I think it's only just taking hold in the US. I think that it was adopted a lot earlier in Europe, where their energy costs have been higher than that we've experienced here. So are there any more questions? Jonathan would like to ask a question. Jonathan, we're asking that questions go into the chat unless you think it's, you know, terribly complicated. This allows us also to keep track. So when we make up frequently asked questions, we can refer back to these lists. So that would be great if you could do that. Does anyone have any other questions tonight about general home energy efficiency measures? Perhaps you're thinking about putting in a heat pump water heater, or you're thinking about putting in a heat pump heating and cooling system. So feel free to put those questions in the chat as well. And the question we have now is, how much electricity does the stove use compared, I guess, to another electric stove? Or instead of gas, I don't know. Is it going to make your electricity bill go way up?
No, on the contrary, it should go down. It's not significant. I believe I've seen where it says it's 85% efficient versus, or like I actually say 15% more efficient than a regular electric stove. So if you're replacing with regular electric, it should go down. Of course, if you replace a gas and go to electric, then the cost will shift from one bill to the other. The oven is going to use a regular amount, and that's why you need a 40 to 50 amp circuit, because the oven is a regular electric resistance oven. So that's going to draw a lot of electricity when you bake, just like typical oven will do. But there should be a modest decrease in the amount of energy used to cook on the cooktop.
And a significant decrease in carbon emissions if you are using natural gas, as well as this cleaner indoor air. The Stanford study, if you're interested in that, is really quite eye-opening. We had a presentation by a couple of doctors who talked about the health effects caused by indoor cooking, and they were much greater than anyone ever imagined. Barb is just asking for a little bit of clarification on all these rebates and tax incentives. She says, just to be clear, we would need to wait until January of 2023 to switch out and to be able to take advantage of the discounts and tax rebates that are the federal ones.
Correct.
Yes, I believe you can take advantage of the city of Ashland rebates still currently, and it would always be good to check, because I guess at some point the money that's in that pot might run out before the end of the year. It's possible, but the city of Ashland rebates are not kicking in 2023. They're ongoing right now.
Yeah, but always good to check before you buy, if you're counting on that, because that's how incentive programs tend to work. They put the money where help is needed to transform the market. So if there's already a huge federal one coming down, they may choose to put that money towards incentivizing something else. But yeah, I can't speak for the city, but that's a possibility. Things change.
Yes, yes. Any other questions on this, on these topics? And I'll take a moment to do the very exciting giveaway for our portable induction cooktop. So let's see who the lucky winner is going to be. The lucky winner is Mandy. I can't read the last name, but it begins with a B like boy. And congratulations, Mandy. We've got your email address here and we're going to reach out to you. You're not here tonight, I'm going to guess. I don't think I've seen a Mandy. We'll reach out and arrange to drop off that portable induction cooktop. And we want to say a special thanks to a couple of our volunteers in the Electrify Ashland Now who donated that, that portable induction cooktop to help people get familiar with this technology that we sort of say is not your mother's electric cooktop, because it's faster and works a lot more efficiently. All right, well, I think that is it for tonight. Lori Kaplan, do you have any closing words? I've got some closing words too, but I would love for you to chime in. Lori is the president of Ashland Climate Collaborative. Thanks, Lori.
Yeah, thank you. And it's fun to be able to be in the background on these programs. So thank you, Candace, for moderating. And thank you, John and Ben. I know, Candace, you'll be thanking everyone. But I wanted to just mention, that this organization is an all volunteer organization, and everybody that's on the screen here is one of your neighbors. And that's what I really love about this organization, is that it's neighbors helping neighbors. We're all in this together. And it's really I just feel like it's a great effort. And we had a big news this week, Candace, and I don't know whether you were going to announce that.
I wasn't planning on it. I thought I would hold off, but you can go ahead and do it if you like.
Okay, well, I didn't mean to steal your thunder, but we applied for federal nonprofit status, and that came to us this week. So that's really a huge step forward for this organization. And I hope that you will show your appreciation for the efforts of this volunteer team, so we can continue to provide more resources, to support the transition to net zero in our community. So we're just in this with our hearts and our community spiritedness. We don't do this for money. We're not paid off by anybody. We're just here to help the community move forward in a positive way, and we're super excited. So I just wanted to share that. I'm just feeling really great about all the work that we're doing, and I hope you do too, and that you'll find a way to support us as well. So Candace, thank you for letting me just chime in on that.
Oh, you bet, you bet. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight, and we do hope that you leave with useful information about induction cooktops and home energy efficiency, and that you feel empowered to take steps to start your plan toward reducing your household emissions and improving both indoor and outdoor air through electrifications. And as Lori said, if you find these discussions valuable, we invite you to support ACC with a donation of any amount, so that we can continue to offer these support groups, which are done by volunteers who are not paid. And you can do this through our donate button on our website. And as Lori said, I do want to thank our wonderful presenters, Ben Scott and John Spillman, who give so much of their time and are so expert. And thank you for helping us to create better homes and a better Ashland. Please join us for our next webinar, which will be in November, and we will cover the latest information that we've gathered and have some experts, including probably John and Ben, talking about the federal, state, and city rebates and tax incentives that are available for home energy improvements. You can always reach out to us if you think of a question that didn't come across just now. Our email address is info@ashlandclimate.org. That's info at ashlandclimate.org. Thank you so much and good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Thanks, everybody. Stop recording.